Thank you for tuning in to this special episode of Back to the City. On Thursday at Icehouse, there is a very exciting event. Everybody's talking about Harry Nilsson. And if they're not, then at least we are. Why should we all be talking about Harry Nilsson at the moment?
Well, there's I guess a few key points there. One is that it's Harry Nilsson's 76th birthday.
On Thursday.
On Thursday.
Yeah.
And that is significant in a couple ways. One is that there's a campaign called Harry in the Hall, and that is a nationwide campaign to get Harry Nilsson inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah, which by now you are the flagship band for.
Yeah, I would say we are. I mean, we've had a lot of communication with one of the leaders from that project, but also Kifo Nilsson, who's one of Harry Nilsson's sons. He's a really great musician, and he is also doing a 76th birthday thing in LA, I think.
Okay.
And so now I think he's probably taken over a little, because he didn't do it last year, and he's like doing recordings kind of like we did last year. So we kind of like started a little bit of that, and then and now he's like kind of taking it and going to the next level. But we're just happy to be involved.
So by now it's very much connected to Harry in the Hall.
Yeah.
But there was an element of happenstance. Is this correct? So let's go to the beginning of your project, the Dream On Nilsson project. How did that? What was the genesis of the project? At what stage did Harry in the Hall become involved?
Well, the genesis of the project was me moving into a new house, setting up a new studio, because everywhere I live I set up something.
Yep, I can relate.
And Kai and I, good friends, and now at the time neighbors. It was like, well, what are we gonna do with all this fun, that we're putting together? Yeah. And Nilsson's always been important to us. We love his music, and this was before I even had heard of any Harry in the Hall or any of this. We were looking for something to do, and we wanted a challenge, but we also wanted to just like dive right in. So we kind of
to use your studio.
Yeah.
Immediately.
And just get in there.
You are all in exciting bands, and we'll name check a
absolutely.
few of those in a bit. But it takes a while to wrait original music.
Exactly.
So
and that was the thing. It's like, well, what can we do? What can we do today? What can we get started on? And Nilsson kind of, it was Kai's little earworm into mine, saying, how about this? How about this? And it's like, yes, absolutely. How about it?
Yep.
And from there, we kind of got a core group of musicians together, about 4 or 5 of us, that started this whole thing. And then
Kyle was one of the others.
Absolutely,
I saw it's probably the next thing in the story. Actually, I saw a Kickstarter video, which was the 3 of you. So the 2 of you and Kyle O'Brien.
Yep.
Yeah. Was that the original trio?
That's the foundation.
Yeah.
You guys did start tracking that way, and then Josh and I play in the group Mississippi Hot Club.
Yeah.
So throwing out that.
Yeah.
Joe Downing, our bassist, heard these guys were doing this, and they had already tracked some piano, tracked some vocals and drums, and it was just Kai was like, well, Joe, do you want to come play some bass on this stuff? He's like, what is it? Harry Nilsson. He said, I'm there.
Yeah.
And he then became, I think, the 4th member.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, since Kai and I are brothers, he was saying, come over sometime and track guitar. So I was like, okay, I'll do it, definitely down. So, played some guitar and stuff too. All these guys play guitar too, so I was kind of like, why do you need me?
Why me?
But I did it anyway.
So in the video you were playing guitar, but by now there's enough great guitarists in the band that you can just sing.
Yeah, and a lot of that was, from the beginning too. The reason why I was putting the earworm into Josh's brain was because I went to jazz school for voice, and Harry Nilsson has always been like, as a vocalist, hugely inspiring for me, and also all vocalists who are studying.
Yeah.
And
what is it about his vocal style? Because I know that he has, he's a tenor with a 3.5 octave range, which is impressive and unusual.
That's a good start.
Vibrato
is out of control.
Yeah, his style in singing is very purist in a lot of ways, where some vocalists are known for certain things, like maybe like, you know, Zeppelin, like screaming high notes and like being able to rock and roll for 4 hours straight and do that. But he was known very much as a dynamic singer, where he can sing very low and very soft and sing ballads that are very moving and lyrical, but also like if he wants to, he can sing anything he wants, you know.
Yeah.
And so as being that dynamic as a person studying singing, it's like, how do you do that, and how is he doing, you know, these acrobatic things?
Yeah.
And
So I made the reference to Everybody's Talking right at the beginning. That's a song which people who haven't heard of Harry Nilsson will know that song. Is it in Midnight Cowboy?
Midnight Cowboy, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So, and just in general culture as well. And Coconut.
Yes.
You know, people will know that song. That's not a ballad, is it? That's
no, not quite.
So just those two songs, you know, Put the Lime in the Coconut, that song is him as well. Yeah. So we get a good sense of, as you're saying, how dynamic he is just from everything. Everyone knows both those songs. Are there any songs, especially maybe ones that are on the record that you've released or that you're planning to play at Icehouse on Thursday, that you think particularly demonstrate how dynamic the voice is?
Well, for me specifically, the song "I'll Never Leave You" is off of his album Nilsson.
I love all the
Schmielsen.
That's one of very many that have Schmielsen in the title.
Nilsson with a K too.
Yeah,
that one too. Just in case you know.
I'm missing a bunch of other.
Just in case you're not confused already. Let's just add a K.
That one in particular is for me one of my favorite songs to perform off that album that we're doing. That's mostly orchestra, so it's strings, trumpet, trombone, tenor sax, bassoon, piano, and guitar, baritone guitar. And that song in particular, like, very much showcases his ability to like sing very low and then very high, but also like sing through a 4-bar phrase on one breath. You know, it's like how do you do that? I can't do it live. I mean, he did it in a studio, so like he had the time to sit there and take a
before the one,
you know, and then sing a 4-measure phrase without having to take another breath.
Probably huff some oxygen.
Which bit is that? Which is what's the vocal? What are the lyrics for that bit?
Some night I spend alone without you. The river's far too deep without you. Ooh, I can't make it alone without you. And it just keeps going and going and going, and it's like builds up. Yeah, and he starts low and goes high, and then the last note he sings on this one phrase again carries over like 3 or 4 bars, but it's all on one breath, and it's like,
wow.
You know. In the meantime, he's chain smoking cigarettes
and drinking with John Lennon.
Brandy Alexander's.
Yeah,
that's his thing.
Cool. So, so there's his voice in the original, in the Kickstarter. You Kai were highlighting that he was inspiring as a songwriter, as an arranger, his vocal techniques. What are some of the other aspects of him that make him especially important? So you could expand on some of those, or beyond that as well. What makes him important for you, for other musicians in the Twin Cities? It seems like hordes of people have been excited. Oh, you're doing Harry Nilsson. Yes, I'm on board. So what is it, but like beyond the vocal techniques, that make him so important?
I could touch on that a little bit and let these guys talk about it more. But the very first thing that comes to my mind is that because he never played live, he was only a studio musician, and the only live recordings that have ever been captured of him are on BBC radio.
Good old BBC.
And it's like my favorite performance of him personally. But because he was a studio musician, he really had a lot of control over how he chose to arrange songs, and was like kind of a pioneer as far as using a studio as an instrument instead of like being a band and going into the studio, recording your tunes, and then being like, now what should we do with it?
Yeah.
He was starting from
collaborating with the
this?
studio itself.
And his songs are so simple, but also very, very tricky. And that's where I'm going to let these guys talk about that a little bit.
Right. It definitely gets into the nuances, because many of his songs are, of course, in the people's key of C major, and
The good people.
the good people's key of C major, and they're like,
I like that phrase.
For us musicians, they're like maybe 1-4-5 songs, and they're simple, but with the arrangements and the use of this the studio in this way, you have like a fluttering flute coming in and kind of playing the 3 with the bassoon doing the 7, and there's like this thing happening, and it's like, well, how do you do that with what we have? How are we going to adapt that? Those unique things, those nuances, because that's
really make the song happen. Right. Because if it was just, if it was just the song, it's
just
the chords, just the chords and him singing, which oftentimes for him was enough, because the BBC version is just him playing piano and singing the song, which is like amazing. But then,
if you're actually putting it in the setting of an ensemble, you
a
really
live
have
performance,
to a live performance. You really have to make those decisions, and then you listen to those little keyboard parts, flute parts, bassoon parts, and go, oh, now that is different. That's interesting.
Yeah.
How are we going to do that? Because we already understand the song. We know the song.
Yeah.
But then it comes to that point of, I guess, us arranging.
Yeah. So you have got a pretty unique situation there, because you have this artist that's meant so much to all of you and to so many other people, but who wouldn't perform live, who didn't perform live.
Right.
And you begin by wanting to use your studio, understandably, given the manner in which this artist worked.
Right. Yeah. Right.
To use your studio in an exciting way. But then you get so excited about it, perhaps, it turns into, initially, last year, the first annual celebration was at the Cedar Cultural Center.
Yes.
Yeah. So what have some of the main differences been then between the original idea of let's use the studio, like following in his tradition, to make a record, to let's perform these songs, which is not what he did.
At some point in us starting this project and sharing stuff on social media and all that, and just opening it up to the world, either you reached out to some folks from here in the hall just to say, hey, we're doing this. What do you think?
I can't remember if they contacted us or we contacted them, but they just were so excited about it, that they're like, you gotta do this, like we want to help you. And it was like, how often in the music world do you get
that level of enthusiasm
kind of, from someone else you don't know?
Exactly.
They're like, we want to do anything we can to help you guys.
Yeah, they invited you out to LA right away and stuff. And
what happened? What did he do in LA?
Well,
didn't actually.
You didn't go.
It was they.
Not yet.
They had all these connections with the fans of Harry Nilsson. Nilsson lived in LA for most of his life. So they really wanted Kai to come out and do some of the arranging with the strings and stuff in a different studio, but everything happened so quickly, and we were already in the midst of the recording in the basement. And then we went to Mini Haha recording studio for the strings instead of, because otherwise, that's just travel. All this other stuff.
So you had Minneapolis musicians doing the strings.
Yeah.
They were all going to travel to LA, perhaps, but that's there's good studios here.
Yeah, it's hard to say no to.
It was a hard decision to make, because they were going to give us a friend deal and all these kinds of things, and come out and let's just hang out and talk about Nilsson and do this kind of stuff. And we're like, oh man, that's so cool, But then at the end it was like,
we only had so much time.
It's just more efficient for us to just do
And
this.
what we did instead then was the Kickstarter. We want to do this. This is going to be bigger now. Let's get an arranger. We had Adam Conrad come in and do all the string and horn arrangements. He did a great job, phenomenal job.
Right. Plus, having to play the record release.
And
we had people that we had recorded with play the strings and horns. Otherwise, we would have been like, oh, we need
some additional players.
We need to do this thing.
Do it all again.
Yeah, do it all again. Train more people in. You know. it was such a time-sensitive thing that they started this and then they picked a release date, and they're just like, we just have to have it done. You know, we just have to have, and then we have to rehearse too. Because we were, like you said, like Nilsson did, we were just in the studio, you know, pushing the buttons in front of microphones, and then it was like, oh, but we have to play this.
Yeah, and again, you went, as you began, you weren't even necessarily expecting there to be that, but now we have to play this.
Right.
So there
we
would
were
even
thinking,
translating your own music to live would be difficult in some respects.
Yeah, and we thought, well, if it was only like the 4 or 5 of us that, you know, did the main thing, that would have been fine too. But once it all came together, it was like, no, we want everyone there. And that's what we're gonna do again on Thursday, on the 15th. Is there's gonna be quite a few people. I think about 13 musicians. And this year we just got to focus on rehearsal.
Because you're not putting out. So this is the first record just here, and we can if okay, we can hear some songs from it throughout the episode. And presumably this will be available at Icehouse on Thursday. And a bunch of the songs that you play will be from it.
Yeah, we're doing 16 songs, so we added quite a few tunes, and it's always funny. We're like, well, we should add some songs this year because, you know, last year we're all like tight enough with a lot of this music that like it's not too tough. Like let's add this song from this album that we all really like, and then we get in to rehearse it, and it's like, this isn't actually as simple as it sounds, right? Because it's like, well, there's a weird bar of 5 in there, and then all of a sudden he does this, and we're like, this is the town and these are the people. This is the town where the people all stay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1.
Just like snuck in there.
Next time around it changes, and the next time around changes, and there's a thing, and it's like, I thought this was just like a down. I thought we were just doing down. But now we're like, oh man.
But you spend a minute and you're like, hey, we got it. That's very thrilling.
Exactly.
It starts to feel normal.
There's a little treat in there for for the musicians, should they ever choose to try and play it live.
Right.
There's a little treat from Harry.
This year I think we're doing 5 or 6 songs from The Point. That record specifically for me is awesome. It's a bee's knees. I just love the kind of dance between like rhythmic little jukey kind of things, and then the ballads such as like Lifeline. Think About Your Troubles is kind of a shuffle, but it's this kind of nice dichotomy between whimsical and very felt. You know? And I really, really love that stuff. So I think in this set, it's 5 or 6, but we're just doing them all in a row in our own little program of it. And then we're going to try to project The Point behind us and all that fun stuff.
Project the image, the album cover?
The video.
The video. Okay, cool. Yeah.
So that's super fun.
And this year we're adding Polly High, which is also from The Point. That song, like, had turned into something that I don't think any of us were expecting. Like, we just started jamming on it, and all of a sudden it's like, wait, this is like way funkier than
you expected it to be.
It to be. And it's so good that we're going to play it twice in a row.
Nice.
Because it's a 2-minute long song, and there's an intro, so it's like we finish the song, we're all like, no way we're done with that. We're not even close to done with that song. Let's just do it again.
How far into the set will this be?
About middle.
That's right in the middle.
Right in the heart. The doors are 9:30. And actually you have MT Foyer is not only opening but also playing, and if it wasn't already enough, the 15 or so songs that you'll be playing, he'll also be playing all or some Harry Nilsson.
Some Nilsson.
4 or 5 songs, I think.
And all different from the ones we're doing.
Nice.
So total, I think there's going to be like 20 to 22 Harry Nilsson songs throughout the whole night. So that's pretty cool.
That's exciting.
We were referencing some of the lyrics and the whimsy and the narrative component. That seems to be important to me too. And the song that you said was very whimsical, or many of them are. coconut, for example, is pretty whimsical. But think about your troubles.
Yeah.
And it's thanks to think about your troubles, especially that tea is what we're drinking at the moment, because the narrative is about.
Yeah.
That's what one is doing when one thinks about one's troubles.
Life.
Drinking tea.
Drinking that morning tea.
So pour yourself a cup of tea, then think about the bubbles. Presumably the bubbles when the water's boiling. I'm not sure.
Carbonated tea.
Carbonated tea. And what is the story? There is like a cyclical story then, a narrative in the song. So we're thinking about our troubles and we're crying.
Sit beside the breakfast table, think about your troubles, pour yourself a cup of tea, think about the bubbles. You can take your teardrops, drop them in a teacup, take them down to the riverside, throw them over these sides.
And that song in particular is basically just about the life and death cycle.
Yeah.
I mean, he's talking about how, the tear goes into the teardrop goes into the teacup.
Yep.
And then the teacup goes down the faucet, and it goes into the ocean. That teardrop is eaten by a fish, which is eaten by another fish, which is eaten by a whale.
Yep.
And then
And
the
the
whale
whale
dies.
grew so old, he decomposed.
Yeah. And as we know, when things decompose,
They're getting back to
They're
the...
giving
The
it back to
elements.
the ocean.
So you're
the basic elements are
and
given
then
back
at
to
the
the
end
ocean.
of the story, the person who originally was making tea and crying pours water out of the faucet, and the teardrop comes out of the faucet into his teacup.
Yeah, because it's become salty water, which isn't good to drink. But then that goes through a filter,
It goes through a filter,
and then it goes through a faucet,
Yeah.
and then he drinks it again, and then he cries.
Yeah.
So it's this ingenious thing that everyone wants when you make a kids movie.
It's a movie.
Movie,
It's an animated movie for children.
About a town called The Point.
Called The Point, the land of the point, where everything and everyone must have a point.
And a purpose.
Okay.
And,
But they all have points
Pointed,
on their heads. The law of the land is that everything and everyone must have a point. Oblio is stories about a little boy named Oblio who was born in the land of the point without a point. He has a round head. And so he gets banished to the pointless forest. He's pointless. He can't be in the land of the point. So he gets banished to the pointless forest.
Do the trees have points in the pointless forest?
Well, this is what he discovers, is that the whole idea, background, the end of the story, not to spoil it, but
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert is that he goes to the pointless forest and meets all these characters and realizes that you don't have to have a point to have a point.
And
And
then
he
need to
brings
have a
this
physical
knowledge
point.
back to the land of the point and is accepted because he says, I went to the pointless forest and everything there had a point even if it didn't.
Nice.
And one
his point
is
is to communicate the non-importance of having a point.
one of my favorite characters is a guy who has
points.
arrows coming out of him, and he says, a point in every direction is the same as no point at all. And he's like, oh yeah, like that's totally pointless.
So it becomes, I love the philosophy of this because he had such a sense of humor about it.
Yeah,
but it ended up meaning something very heartfelt, about this character. It's lighthearted, it's fun. You relate to Oblio and you relate to his dog Arrow. But then there are these concepts
his one friend.
are more adult, but they're presented in this way that kids can kind of be like, I remember when we were watching it in the basement of my parents' house and just being like, and I got my degree in philosophy. Maybe it's because of the Nilsson.
Because of the point.
Right, because of the point. I needed to find that point. And it's just, to me, that's just so beautiful and so genius. Like, the genius of Harry is vast. I mean, there are many different aspects of it. The sum of the parts are greater than the whole.
Yeah.
As soon as you look at this one little aspect that, I like that song, then it just kind of blossoms and kind of kaleidoscopes into this, wow, this is quite an artist.
Every time I think of joy, it makes me so sad.
there's so much kind of nuance and clever paradox, I think. So there's this song Joy as well.
Yes, I was just, see, we're having
Yeah.
some sort of,
Yeah.
it's almost like we should play Joy, because that's that song.
Because earlier it was, I was getting these cameras ready, and there was one entirely in front of Kai's face, and without me having to say, he moved it down. So some kind of connections. But in Joy, there's a woman called Joy.
Mm-hmm.
But now every time I think of Joy, it makes me sad. Every time I think of Joy, it makes me sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The punchline, so to speak, is that
if you haven't got an answer, you don't have a question. If you don't have a question, you don't have a problem. If you don't have a problem, there would never be any love songs.
Yeah.
So it's
if
the
there was
same.
no sadness, there would be no love songs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then he repeats, "Joy to the world is a beautiful girl, but to me, joy means only sorrow."
Yeah, and there's a lot of good, bad, good and bad, good and bad. Like those lyrics are kind of juxtaposed next to each other. And it seems a similar thing in the two songs that we've really dug into. This idea of a cycle.
Sure.
Crying is
A lot
part
of
of the
stuff
cycle,
singing.
sorrow is
Yeah.
part of the cycle,
Right.
and yet
And at
they're
the
being
same
celebrated
time-
in song.
And at the same time, he's almost making fun of love songs.
Yeah.
So, and this is what I really do like about Nilsson's songwriting is that it's never too serious to become like melodramatic or
Right.
something like that.
Yeah.
Sure.
He always has
There's
this
always
this
a little tongue-in-cheek involved.
and also like
Deprecating?
self-deprecating, but also
Destruction,
like
too. You got some of that in
Yeah.
there.
self-aware that this is just a song that I'm singing, and
It's just a song.
it's just
Yeah.
a song.
It's just a song, but at the same
Yeah.
time, it's a song that he would like Joy to turn on the radio and listen to. Which at the end of the song, that's the lyric, and that of course is referencing "Turn on Your Radio," which is the opening track on Dream on Nilsson. Is there a lot of that? This kind of intertextuality, like within the universe of his songs?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And what's the significance of that, do you think?
Well, for example, in the BBC version of Mr. Richland's favorite song,
He quotes
they
another
had
one
to
of the
be,
song.
and the kids had to be home by 1 is the loneliest number.
Yeah.
And he goes into
Yeah.
a different song of his and self-references. And so we actually do the BBC version of the basic arrangement of Mr. Richland's favorite song, which last year we did add, so we added in that little one part, and this year we're extending it a little bit.
Doing the whole one.
Because it's like, this is just one little quote he did, but as fans and as playing the tribute to him, we thought, well, what
One's
a
a
cool
great
thing.
song,
One's a great song,
Yep.
and since we already have that snippet, why don't we just
Extend-
make it longer?
Turn into
and-
that song.
Yeah,
So 1 is the loneliest number, but 2
can be as bad as 1.
can be as bad as 1, and it's the loneliest number since 1.
Yeah.
So that seems interesting too, because again he's reflecting on love and like love within a cycle, and you might think 1's the loneliest number, and then presumably 2, then everything's great. If you've got someone else, then everything's great.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. How, like with the rest of that song, what's the commentary on love songs and on certain like conventions and the basic narratives that are popular in the culture. What's he doing with all of that, do you think?
There's I think again there's a little bit of the humor, and that song isn't necessarily a funny song at all, but the irony, I guess, that I think he is portraying, that I relate to, is that he's saying, 1 is the loneliest number that you've ever known, being alone, but then oftentimes, even if you are with someone, it can be just as lonely.
Yeah, exactly.
And
There's not
just
necessarily a
because-
connection.
Yeah, like you can be just as lonely with being involved with someone as you are not. And him going through 3 marriages or and all of this, like I think he's probably like you know, everyone's saying you just gotta find the right person.
Yeah,
And
right.
he's just like, right person?
Yeah.
You know, what do you mean? Like, who is that? You know, like, what does that mean? Like, just because I'm with someone, like, I'm not going to be lonely? That doesn't make sense. You know?
Yeah, and yet we will. There'll be many of us at Icehouse, and we will not be in the least lonely, and we'll be thoroughly
absolutely.
enjoying being there together and appreciating these songs. We began to kind of build up a sense of like how it developed from being Kai, Joshua, and Kyle, Ian getting involved, Joseph also getting involved, who's also in Mississippi Hot Club. Yeah. And then the other two core members of the band as performing at Icehouse are Celeste and also Marty on the pedal steel guitar. And Celeste is going to be providing like the extra keys, is that correct?
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
So was Marty involved at the
No,
previous one?
But he's in MT Foyer.
Right.
Oh,
So he'll be
yeah.
performing both.
Two sets.
Yeah,
Yeah.
two sets.
Wow.
He's the
Big
hero.
sets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's playing all night.
Yeah.
No, that was
Yeah.
quite a blessing this year. Once again, we were more able to focus on just the performance and not just performance, the performance,
Yeah.
right? And Marty was on board with joining us. It's like absolutely, there's so much room for pedal steel in this context, and come on down, and here we go. Here's some ideas, and that's good. Do that, you know, and the collaboration happens.
Yeah.
And talking about the whole core of the band. A big deal for us from the inception was collaboration. We wanted to, and this is actually kind of why we didn't go to LA. Now that it's coming to my mind, we wanted to be collaborating with Minnesota artists.
Yeah.
You know, we finished recording. It was a long session at my house, and we went out for a beer and a piece of pizza. And on the wall, we saw what came to be our artist, Alexandra's. Work.
You saw this?
No.
Or some other
that
work?
was commissioned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we saw some of her work, and we're like, wow, that's really beautiful. Let's get into contact with her. We're just down at Pizza Luce, and that's how we found our artist.
Oh, I love
for
so
the
it-
project.
Just call her and say we want you to
And
do
what's
this.
more Minneapolis than Pizza Luce?
And same thing with going to Tony at Minnehaha Recording Studio.
Yeah.
Adam Conrad was a classmate of ours at McNally Smith.
Yeah.
We were in different places there,
Yep.
but that's where I remember him from.
And he arranged the orchestra,
Yep.
the whole album,
And he had some
and
ideas
he
for
connected
folks.
us with all
Yeah.
those people. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so the core group, like right now, Celeste did play with us last year. She's playing with us a whole bunch more this year, which is really awesome. We got
Absolutely.
Marty. But really, the idea, like jumping off of the collaboration thing, is that all the songs we have charts for. We have cheater charts where we have the lyrics with chords and changes, and so. Our idea again is that, you know, in the future we want to keep doing this, and every year it's going to get easier for us because we just are going to like have these songs like down
For the
But
core
also-
band, but then also
but we want to be able to have our stack of cheat sheets and scores and be like, anyone out there, like you want to come play with
Come
us?
on down
you
around
want
this
to,
year,
like,
yeah.
you know,
As-
come
yeah.
and play and
as Harry, for example, does enter the the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and more and more people get excited about him.
Yeah.
Like you can have a larger and larger
Yeah.
orchestra, which is already, is it 6 or 7 people? So
it was 6. One of our members couldn't make it, so
okay.
6. It
6
was
or
7.
5.
Now it's 6.
Okay, and that includes like violin, trumpet.
2 violins.
Yep.
A cello, a trumpet, a trombone,
Yeah.
and
Tenor sax.
tenor sax. That's it.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so working with that manifestation, like the full core band and then all of that,
Yeah.
are there any songs where they're on, perhaps especially they're on this record so we can kind of hear it, that has departed the most from the original, but in a way that you think is entirely appropriate?
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
What's the song?
Right off of the cuff.
Yeah.
The way that we do Everyone's Talking. Which
Yes,
is quite an
which
iconic
is like,
song.
of course, like the one that most people would know. Yeah.
That's pretty close.
It's close, but at the end, it's very different.
Okay.
Because it's a good fade out in the original. It's a great fade out.
Yeah.
I love a good fade out.
Yeah,
I
I
would
can
say in terms-
imagine that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
how do you do it?
So in our arrangement, Adam Conrad came up with a kind of a phrase for the strings to vamp on at the end of the tune.
Yeah.
And so it's still a fade out, but we first kind of hint at a fade out, and it comes back in with more just rhythm and strings.
Yeah.
So at the end of that tune, it's kind of like it's almost like it feels like an Afro groove kind of thing.
Sure.
Versus the like kind of shuffly, or not shuffle, but you know, the
horse trot.
That kind of
it's
sound.
a bit more of a Latin groove than it is like a country groove.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hence, so you felt entirely at home. You were just at KFAI on a Latin show.
I love those folks.
You should have talked about that. I don't know.
Sure.
Cuddly Toy.
Cuddly
and
Toy.
Think About Your Troubles, I think, are the most venturous.
Yeah.
Off of them.
Okay. Cuddly Toy was also covered by the Monkees.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, they bought it. They bought it for $40K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Yeah. Good deal for some.
They probably made at least $250 on it.
Yeah.
Good purchase.
You didn't have to buy it. You didn't buy it. You don't own the Cuddly Toy.
No, we don't.
no.
We don't own the Cuddly Toy. We're
We
licensing
don't
it.
own any rights for any of the music.
Okay. So, but Cuddly Toy then, how is that? What's your version of Cuddly Toy sound like, and why does it sound like this?
So the original is kind of, we especially know the Monkees version. It's kind of a boppy pop song.
It is. Yeah.
It's just nice and easy. Feels good.
Yep.
Ours is funky.
Well, it's because we have Jaco Pastorius playing bass. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. Yeah. The bass, the bass really is what changes it.
Okay.
Because
So on the record, you have a different bassist for
No,
this.
it's Joe.
It's
Downing.
Joe.
I was
Okay,
just
yep.
making a joke because he just
A
plays
joke.
so well on
Yeah.
it. Like we were more like that's our most stripped down song where it's just keys, drums, bass, and vocals.
Yeah.
Yep.
The rest of them are like 13 people or whatever.
Hmm.
But this one was kind of like here's the real basic idea of it, and I originally was like I really hear this as more up tempo and funky.
Yeah.
Chatting, having this like
Yeah.
groove, and then we're into the pocket.
Right.
And we were more or less just like Joe, like this song isn't too difficult, so like just play some funk bass on it, and he just like crushed it. And
Yeah.
it's like that makes it like it sounds like I don't know Jamiroquai or
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks
I
like
particularly
that.
enjoyed that one on the record.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, this sounds different.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we came up with that odd polyrhythm, and then with Joe's playing, all of a sudden I'm like stepping way back because there's just space then, and funk is all about space. It's all about and then and
Yeah.
that kind of anticipation.
Absolutely.
And then Think About Your Troubles.
that's our Queen.
Right. We had the vision of Queen. We love Queen. We should do a Queen.
I love Queen
now.
too. Who's going to be Freddie? Are you going to be Freddie?
We're gonna have to.
Maybe Thursday nights at karaoke.
But so for our for what we did for that song is we did the point version, the original, because I like to start there. Is it's a very easy, like kind of just vocal, and it's like a Wurlitzer, just simple. And there's some like sound effects here and there, but it's a super simple like tom. Very stripped down. Love it. It's really well done.
Yeah.
But Kai's like, how about Queen? And yes, how about Queen? So that means we need a dual guitar solo at the end, of course.
Yeah.
We need some just ripping vocals, just like that moment where it gets really exciting.
Yeah.
So we have that, and I jokingly call that like the Muppet moment because it feels like Muppets.
Muppets too. Queen Muppets. This is getting better and better.
Yeah, Queen Muppets.
Jamiroquai.
Yeah.
Harry Nilsson plus Jamiroquai plus the Muppets and Queen.
And then,
That's what you get if you come to Icehouse.
Yeah,
on Thursday.
don't say that. Don't say that.
And then recording-wise, what I really liked, something that I just kind of had an idea to do was at the end during the guitar solos.
Yeah.
There's this in the original recording. There's I think it's a mellotron, but it's like a flute sound doing this this chromatic line that just goes through the chords because it's a very cyclical song.
Oh yeah, so appropriately so because it's the one with the hence the visual aid with the T,
right back to it,
and the cycle with the tears and the whale.
It's so
Yeah.
tricky how cyclical the chords are in that. It's so because it's 4 chords. The whole song is just 4 chords rotating in this weird circle of.
And not a coincidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like thinking about like style and substance.
Yeah. He was a master.
They're
of that.
intertwined.
Yep.
And also the Queen idea is too that like Freddie Mercury is also very theatrical.
Yeah.
And that song specifically tells a story, and the story itself is dynamic, and it kind of builds up to this point where, think about your troubles, and it's like got this like I never thought of it as a Muppets moment, but it's I always thought of it as like the it's hard to come up with don't stop me now, having such a good time, having a ball, and then later on it's this like right before the the guitar solo.
Yep.
He's got this like 4-part harmony that just like
and
then we're like
shits.
and then we're back into it, and it's like that, and was like the.
It's also like the catchline's like the point. Really think about your trouble, because by that point in the song, like we've been like the narrative cycle, we've gone through it. Is that right? And it's like really do think. You don't just. Because that's a way to kind of break out of one's troubles too, and it's a way to kind of place one's troubles in a broader cycle, and like you simultaneously own them and learn through them, which seems to be like the moral, the point of the story, like for the kids, in the point. Yeah. So of course the main thing that we're talking about is the show at Thursday. Do your various bands also have things on the horizon?
Yeah,
Yana, for example.
Yeah, we're all working hard. That's one really cool thing about this project too, is that because it's just we've all kind of decided that it's a once a year thing for all of us to get together and play together and enjoy. But all the people in this band are in 2 or 3 different projects, and are all, some of the hardest working musicians I know.
Absolutely.
And we all know.
And these projects sound quite different from each other and
They're
from
all
Harry Nilsson.
extremely different,
Right.
And I'm in a band called Yana.
Yeah. Which I thoroughly enjoyed at the Hex, the new band night the other night.
And that's with Matthew Gravy, who's in Cat Bath and Mrs.
And has been in about 100 bands.
He's the band man.
Yeah.
Kyle O'Brien plays drums in this, plays drums in Yana, and Megan McNeil plays bass guitar.
Yeah.
We have only played 3-4 shows so far, but we are super excited, just trying to write more songs.
And you have a show with Sass on the horizon.
Yeah, we have a show with Sass and a couple other bands I can't remember. There's a touring band from Texas.
Cool.
I apologize, I can't remember their name, but that's at Sewer Cafe on Sunday.
Cool.
And these guys are in the Mississippi Hot Club.
Yeah.
They're playing wedding season now.
This weekend is weddings. We were playing the Twin Cities Jazz Fest.
Nice. Yeah.
Next Friday.
Okay.
7:15 at Mears Park.
Mm-hmm.
That's a free show, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep. So that's really neat. It's funded by the state and grants, which is really cool. And it's the first time that we've played the Jazz Fest, or will have played. So very excited for that.
Yeah. So that's so if the show is
23rd.
Thursday,
23rd,
it's not the day after that. It's the following Friday.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Cool.
The third week of June.
And on Saturday the 24th, we're playing at Lee's Liquor Lounge with the
nice.
touring group.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you're playing Battle Rat too.
I'm playing Battle Rat. We just got out of the studio. We're at Wild Sound, close to Northeast.
Cool.
Really, really cool studio. We tracked 5 new songs. Celeste Hewley's the lead singer, vocalist, songwriter, piano player of that group.
Yep.
Who is also playing
on Thursday.
keys and Nilsson on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
So that will be. Those are basically our projects right now.
Yeah, and the Hot Club has 2 different recording sessions this summer scheduled. One at Wild Sound, and we're going to actually go up to their cabin in Ely and do a DIY, recording weekend and hanging out kind of retreat for the band. So that'll be really fun.
Yeah.
In July.
So our summer is basically over.
Yeah.
We'll
find some time to go fishing.
Cool. And so after the studio and after the fishing, hopefully like all 3 of you on different occasions can come back and talk about these various projects.
We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Really
yeah,
awesome.
the first of many times.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, of course, Thursday at Icehouse is the place to be. Empty Foyer, opening doors at 9:30, $8. If you get advance tickets, $10 on the door, 21 plus.
Correct.
And and check out, this is available on iTunes.
And Spotify.
iTunes, Spotify. We'll have them at the show.
Yep. And highly recommend it. It's great. Yeah. And you've been hearing music from it throughout the episodes. So see everyone on Thursday at Icehouse. This has been Back to the City. Here are 3 members of Dream On Nilsson. We'll see them in action on Thursday. I've been Simon Calder. Thank you very much for tuning in.